Hello blondies and welcome back to Happy Blonde. Wearing this shirt today was probably the best decision ever. So I hope you're all doing amazing. It's extremely early, and today's video actually started out from a poll that I posted on my Instagram. If you don't follow me on my Instagram, go ahead and do it, happy.blonde.s. Most of my polls and feedback from my followers and all that kind of fun stuff happens over there, plus all the amazing pictures and behind the scenes of my life. Anywho, I posted a poll asking you guys what type of video you'd like to see, and this was an excellent suggestion, which is comparing Disney Parks entertainment with princessing. As many of you know, I am the proud owner of a Party Princess company, Pixie Dusted, and I am also a Party Princess performer, but once upon a time, I did work for the Disney Parks in Orlando, Florida as a character performer. Today we're going to dive into how it's different, and we're going to use basically a day in the life of to compare both ways as to what happens with each and every one of them, and we're going to compare those details. No entertainment industry is better than the other, and I am basing this off of my own Party Princess company and those that I do know around me. There are others who work different ways, and that is a-okay. Now, let's start off the video. So the first thing that I do have to say is that both for most Party Princess companies and for the Walt Disney Company, you do get hired to portray a certain character. In my sense, I was hired to portray Miss Daisy Duck. She is simply amazing. She is the shortest of the VIPs, and the reason why I was hired to portray Daisy was because of my height. Height ranges are extremely critical and way too implemented at Disney World versus with Party Princessing, my own company. For example, I do look at height ranges, but I am not the same way that Disney World works, where they're like, yeah, you have to be 4'11", and your measurements for your body have to be this and that for you to portray only that character. In my sense, I am 4'11". I am friends with Ariel a lot in my company, but my best friend Dally is 5'4". She's also friends with Ariel, and we wear the same outfit. It's the same dress. We just have very similar measurements, and that depends on obviously how I purchase and create and ask to make my costumes. So in terms of like what you get hired to do, you do have to get approved at Disney World. In my company, you do have to get approved for certain characters as well due to physical traits, but at Disney World they focus more on heights. So that covers basically the characters that you can portray at Disney World. If you want to portray a certain character, you gotta get approved, but first you gotta look at a list over at your page that it says, for example, you can be approved for X character, and X character. If a character is not on that list, don't get your hopes up because you're not going to get approved on it. For princesses, obviously, you can get approved on characters that you do look like. We just see if the costume fits, how do you manage the character, and all that kind of fun stuff. And if you do an excellent job, usually you do get approved on those characters. In terms of like what your day is like, first off, you do get your hours for Disney World weekly, and depending on where you're going, it is obviously the character that you're going to portray, and you know, there are set areas for set characters. For example, Storybrooke Circus over at Magic Kingdom has Daisy Fortuna and Minnie with the dancing puppies, and it has Donald the Magnifico, and it has Goofy the Goofini. So they're all over there in their circus costumes. Everybody knows that. But if you're looking, for example, for Chip and Dale, they're going to be over at Frontierland. For princesses, obviously, we work birthday parties and we work events. Sometimes they ask for certain characters, sometimes they don't ask for other characters. So it really depends on the popularity of a character in your area. And obviously for Disney World, that's a good thing because, for example, if you're friends with Jasmine, which is a character that in my company just doesn't move a lot, they don't ask for her a lot here in Puerto Rico, you know, being friends with Jasmine means that you need at least another backup character that does get booked a lot, so that obviously you get bookings. For obviously the parks, you know that if you're friends with Jasmine, you are always going to be over in front of the magic carpet ride in Agrabah. Now, for your schedule, like I mentioned, you get it a week before. For us princessing, we're kind of always like on book, you know, you're always kind of waiting to get bookings. Bookings can come as very far off as 6 months. They could come at very, very soon as a week. So it really depends on who is available. That is why there are a lot of companies, and I do the same. For example, I do have Cece, who's friends with Snow White. You guys all know that. You've seen her way too many times being friends with Snow. But I'm also friends with Snow as a backup. And each character has different backups to, you know, fill in for whoever can't get there that day. So when you get to Disney World, you obviously go to your, you clock in, you go to your entertainment base and you say, hey, I am friends with this character today over at this area, you know, and they check you in and you are going to go and get your costume, and you're the one who pulls out your own costume. This gives you the benefit that if you get there really early, like for example, I used to work a lot back at Storybrooke Circus hanging out with Miss Daisy, like I mentioned. There's a lot of costumes, obviously, because they have a lot of, obviously, pieces for different characters. They're a multi-millionaire company, and, you know, you get there early, you get to choose the lightest heads, because there are heads that are heavier than others, and there are some outfits that have, you know, variations. Some corsets are a little bit tighter than others, or the sleeves, and you get the liberty of choosing that. In terms of princessing, my girls get to Entertainment Base, which is here Princess Headquarters, and they are already in their makeup. For princesses over at the parks, they do their base and they get their eye makeup done over at the parks. My girls come in here with their makeup done. All they have to do is slip into the dresses and hopscotch in a car and go. Because for us, obviously, we're not a park, so we need to drive to our locations, and sometimes it can be a 26-minute drive like last weekend, and sometimes it can be a 2-hour drive like our Double Snow and Belle party. So for parks, you just get there, and when you get to, obviously, Entertainment Base, they do warm-ups for you. Depending on, obviously, the type of character that you are going to portray are the different types of warm-ups that you are going to do. And a fun fact about, you know, costuming with princesses is my girls obviously need to drive, or they don't drive in their dresses. They have a character attendant, a fairy godmother, who drives them to these places, but they need to come in their makeup, like I mentioned, get in the dress, get their hair in and all of the pieces, and literally hopscotch in a car and go, so that whenever they get to the party location or the event location, everything is set and ready. All they have to do is literally mic her in and walk out the car door. For Disney parks, it's a little bit funnier and it's cuter, because they obviously get there and sometimes you have 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour in between your clock-in time and your start time. Actually, you're supposed to have an hour, and sometimes you don't have anything to do, really. So for the princesses, they get their makeup done and they get their hair done. Once their hair is in their heads, they can't take it off for the entire day. So you just see these royals walking around in a white shirt and princess bloomers and little Ugg boots, and it's the most adorable thing ever. So again, differences over there. For the sets, in Disney World you have sets. Obviously, if you're meeting and greeting, you're going to spend about 45 minutes on set, and then you're going to come off 45 minutes, and then you're going to do 3 more 45-minute sets, and then you're going to have 4 30-minute sets, something like that. You know, your sets vary depending on what type of character you are, and if you're a fur, if you're a face, where's your meet and greet, if it's an indoor, if it's an outdoor, if it's winter season, if it's summer season. So it varies a lot during the year. And for characters, I remember that I was once told that Tink meets for an hour and 15 minutes because she is indoors, and there are not a lot of Tinkerbells getting cast at Disney World, so there's that. For us, we spend about an hour and a half on set, you know, if we have to. Most parties are usually an hour. I've never had a party that's been extended for more than an hour. So they're spending 1 hour on set, but if we're doing events, the maximum that I let them do on set is 1.5 hours, 2 hours. They do get exhausted. Again, wigs are heavy, costumes are sometimes heavy, and you know, they need to eat, they need to hydrate, so that's why there are different sets, and every single company should have those sets. Again, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just looking out for, I'm sorry, my performers' well-being. So that's basically what you do in an entire day. For those sets that you do over at the Disney parks, you're obviously meeting and greeting. Those sets are timed. You do get a certain time to do those sets. Obviously for party princessing it's much more liberal because you decide how long your interactions are and with what kid. You're interacting with different people in a party at the same time, so it's kind of up to you to interact with whomever you want. Now, something that I get asked a lot as a party princess performance coach is, what about the training? Well, characters over at the parks get to be trained for 4 days. There are very, very intense 4 days, like 8 to 5 type of days. Are you fully ready when you come out of training? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it's even worse because over at the parks, you are rotating constantly. If you're not obviously a full-time and you've been there for a while and you have seniority and you haven't bid a certain location, which it means that, for example, if you want to bid Ariel's Grotto on Tuesdays, well, you're going to probably get Ariel's Grotto on Tuesdays for the X amount of sets that you bid. But if you're not bid, you're constantly just rotating around the 4 parks. It's very, very rare that you work with the same people twice in the same week and in the same location twice in the same week, because you're constantly going around the parks. Makes it a little bit harder to make friends and it's harder to get acquainted to everything. And after having a 4-day training and getting thrown, it's a little bit off, and then you get dinner training. You get half a day of dinner training on top of that, and that's literally it. You go out to do whatever it is that you need, and obviously if you're going to start doing a Festival of Fantasy Parade or Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair, you do need to get trained for every single thing that you start doing that is not a regular meet and greet. For princessing, I am constantly training my girls. I believe that character interpretation is a theater department that doesn't really get a lot of attention, and it's extremely hard because you never get the same situation twice. Obviously, kids can ask Elsa, for example, why her magic isn't working over here, but they're not going to ask the same way, and there's a very high chance probability that the situation is going to be entirely different. So we get very different situations just thrown at us all the time, and we need to constantly be training for that, because character interpretation is not easy to do. You really got to become this character. So that's why I'm constantly training them, telling them to watch the movies, telling them to watch Disney Parks videos and all that kind of fun stuff, because in the end I train them up to a certain point, but it is up to the performer to give the extra mile. You know, they have the tools to do it. They go the extra mile. But the best thing about being a party princess in a company that you love, and I know that I get this question again a lot, is how do you find performers who love to work? My girls absolutely love princessing, but I think that what they love the most about it is that they become a family in the process. You know, not like the Disney parks where they're constantly rotating and it's really hard to make friends because you're never working with the same people. For party princessing, depending on the how big your cast is, you're constantly working with the same people, and since you're constantly training, you're constantly looking at these people. I have a whopping cast of 6 performers, including myself, and I am absolutely in love with my cast and my girls. They are simply amazing. They click oh so well, and it doesn't matter, you know, how I double them up. They all just click wonderfully. It is amazing for them to make friends, and you see them when they are performing that they have that princess chemistry, you know, that friendship chemistry that is needed to obviously give off this princess and character illusion. So I think that's a very big win for princessing. Now, in terms of like little details before we wrap up, because after you're done, at the end of the day, you do bring back your outfits and everything back to costuming. They're the ones who wash it for you, and you obviously leave. For my company, it's the same way. They bring everything back. I'm the one who washes everything and, you know, keeps everything sturdy and ready. What are major differences or key points? First off, as a Party Princess company, you kind of have the liberty of choosing what types of events you're going to do and creating those events. That's the beauty and the magic of it. For the Disney parks, again, there's only a set amount of things that you can do. You can either meet and greet. If you're, for example, friends with Belle, you can meet and greet, or you can do Belle's Enchanted Tales, or you can do the parade, you can do Beauty and the Beast live on stage, Fantasmic. Basically, you know, that's it. You get to pick and choose what you're going to do. For Party Princessing, for example, I can say, oh yeah, we're going to do a Halloween event this year. And they're going to get the chance to do a once-in-a-lifetime maybe, or an annual event, which is different than what they normally do. And again, every single party is extremely different, and every single event is also extremely different. So you get a bigger variety, and the good thing about the parks is obviously there's somebody doing every single thing. You know, there's a person who styles wigs, and there's a person who fixes costumes, and there's a person who trains. For Party Princessing, if you're the CEO, you're constantly doing all of these things unless you have work from someone, because you are an established company with a big financial budget. But if you're not, you're caught up doing most of these things, which can be extremely exhausting. Obviously, for us, getting costumes is sometimes a little bit hard, because, you know, the Disney parks, they design their own costumes, so they pick and choose the fabric and everything and how it's going to look, because they have professional seamstresses that do this. Again, if you are a rising Party Princess company, most of the time you're just like me, scrolling through the internet at 11 o'clock at night, looking at various commissioners or costume stores or shops, and looking at what fits best your budget, your aesthetic, and obviously what you're faithful to. If you're faithful to the movies or the parks, or you give it a little bit of a twist and turn here and there. So there are very big differences. To recap, I had beautiful moments working at Disney World, don't get me wrong. I did get those beautiful moments. I decided to quit Disney World because I was constantly discriminated because of my height. I've been a dancer for 20 years, and I can't be a dancer over at Disney World because I'm less than 5'2", which I find extremely discriminating. You know, my height is not something that I can change. And it happens a lot with the princesses. I can never portray a princess over at the Disney parks due to my height, even though some princesses are actually drawn my height, which is something that I am very grateful for in the Party Princess industry. The fact that I get the chance to give other people the opportunities that they never gave me. I look at the performer, and if they fit obviously the basic requirements, and if they look like the princess and they can perform like the princess and they're eager to grow with a company and they are just passionate about it, what else are you honestly looking for? I feel like people should be given the chance to express what they have and the talent that they can bring to a company, and I love being able to do that with each and every one of my girls. Every single one of them has their own performance story, and I can even do a video on that. So again, if you want that video, leave it on the comment section down below. But both of them have their own charm. Would I work again for the Disney Parks Entertainment? Yes. But would it be as a meet and greet character? Absolutely not. I am aiming to get a Disney Live Entertainment backstage job. I literally apply like almost every single day every time I see a job, so fingers crossed for that. But I do love princessing more than anything in this world, making magic for kids at my own hours, my own rules, and my own guidelines is simply amazing. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any doubts or comments about, you know, comparing one or two, leave them in the comment section down below. Happy Blonde signing off, and I'll see you guys in the next one.